All right, so it is the season for fishing eggs, and so I want to go out and do some fishing, and I need to kind of doctor up my Procure eggs here that Procure does specifically for me at the shop here. And these are awesome eggs, no doubt about it. The thing is, they're cured a little bit on the wet side for float fishing, because you want a little wetter egg for float fishing, you know, milks out super well and all that, and that's great. But I'm not planning on float fishing. I'm planning on doing some back bouncing and maybe diver and bait. So I want to firm these up a little bit, so I want to dry them out more. So all you do, dry out your eggs, get them nice and firm, is just lay them out. Let's see what we got working here. So when Procure does these eggs, they dry them out and everything, but then when they put them back in the jar, they're going to juice up again. It's just the process. So we got, you know, this nice juice here that is good, but they're just pretty soft, and it's just softer than what I want for what I'm going to be doing. And that's kind of a regional thing. I've noticed that up here in Washington that people really like soft, gooey eggs like this. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I want them a little firmer. So all I'm going to do is lay out these nice skeins here. Oh yeah. I like the way these look here because they're not too big. So you can take a look at that. These are fairly, you know, medium-sized to the smaller berries, and that's what you want. You know, for a commercial egg, you know, an egg that you can walk into a store and buy, you can't really do better than this, I think. And one thing that Procure does is they go through and they sort through their big bins of eggs to find the best ones to cure up. And so these are really ideal. You know, not too big, not too small, but definitely not too big and just beyond, you know, when a fish reaches maturity and they're ready to spawn, those are the eggs that you don't necessarily want. You want these kind of like half-developed eggs. They're just perfect. So we're just going to lay these out, and I've got some Procure borax. Now the difference between Procure borax and just regular borax that you'd buy anywhere for like laundry soap is this has been milled, and it's very fine and absorbs into the egg really well, and it's really nice to work with the eggs. So I'm just simply going to kind of like, you know, putting way too much salt on a steak maybe. Don't need to overdo it, but you can't really overdo it. It's not going to ruin them, but you don't need to waste your borax. I'm just going to get them a little covered like that, and work that in. I'll roll them over and get the other side. Get that skein nice and tough, because what this borax will do is dry them out a little bit and toughen up that skein, the skin that's holding all the berries together. That's what you want, that nice strong, that skein to be nice and strong, so when you're back basking down the run, the riffle, it's not going to fall apart on you, or the smolt aren't going to just tear it apart instantly. So there's a lot of smolt in some of these rivers right now, which is a good thing, but it makes fishing eggs a little bit difficult. So let's get some of that on there. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'll turn these back over, and I'm going to just set them and put a fan on them for a few hours, and that'll dry them out real nice because I want it done kind of quickly. So I'm going to use a fan, and what I'm going to end up with is not something that's really pretty, but I don't care about pretty. I want them to catch fish, and these will definitely catch fish. Now what these eggs are cured with is the Fuse blend here, because around here we're still considered kind of the lower Columbia area, but the tributaries we're pretty far from the ocean, and as the fish get away from the ocean, they crave a little more salt. So this is a hotter cure. There's more salt, more chemicals. This is what the fish crave. So this is a really good cure for this area. The only thing I might add to them, and you know, after I'm ready to fish, I might sprinkle a little Monster Bite on it. Monster Bite seems to be the deal now. It's always been a good thing for eggs, especially in the upper tributaries, but I've noticed last few weeks there's guys coming in the shop buying this and putting it in their tuna for their super baits fishing the Columbia. This is kind of like the hot thing right now for doing that. And then if I catch some fish, hopefully, and I have my own eggs to cure, then you know, I would use the fuse, but actually in reality what I probably do is use this because it's so simple. This is like the original ProCure mixed already in liquid. You just take a plastic bag, pour it in, put your eggs in there, and you can't like overdo the eggs, you can't burn them. Just makes it super simple to do. And then I can add chemicals to it, some sodium sulfite, some Osterbite. I can heat them up a little bit for this area. So either way, you know, we'll see. Maybe I'll do some of this, but first I got to get these eggs ready and go catch a fish. So, but what I'm going to do is after they're dried out, you know, pretty good, I'm going to take and I'm going to cut up my pieces, take some scissors and cut my pieces of roe the way I want them, and that way they're ready to fish. This makes it simple. And what that, I've got a few left over here. What I'm going to end up with is a nice piece of roe that has a real tough skein that I can just put in that egg loop, and it's going to fish really well and stay on that hook really well. Now another thing that I might do, because there's so many smolt in the river right now, is go ahead and make up some nice little, these I've done very small, but using the spawn net, I've made some really small ones for the real low water conditions that we've got now in certain spots. I'm going to use a real small piece of roe like that. And what this will do is help with the smolt. They can pick at this, but they can't really tear it off the hook so easily. So the spawn net is a really good way to go. And I'll do another video here pretty soon. I'll show you how to do the spawn net if you've never seen that before. It's a kind of a neat trick. So I'm going to get these dried up and ready to go, and hopefully I'll have some eggs to cure for myself here pretty quick. So I hope you're catching some fish. Get out there, and thanks for watching, and please subscribe.